What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this one, I've got another Palantir update for all of you. We're going to be talking about something that's been floated around a little bit in the recent past and really has been getting reiterated over the last couple of days here, that Palantir could grow into a $1 trillion valuation, and that would put its share price around $430 per share as it currently stands right now. We're going to go over exactly how likely this is and what Palantir would actually need to do in the present and in the future in order to grow into a valuation such as this. Now, obviously, we're also going to be talking about the chart of Palantir to give you guys that little short-term kind of what to expect moving forward, especially after FOMC, which we had today. And we also have the signs that Palantir is going to be receiving another pretty significant government contract coming in the near future. And this just goes to show everything that we were saying in kind of last video that we were talking about with Palantir is kind of coming true. That when you listen to a lot of Alex Karp's statements that, okay, well, if you really want to reform an institution, whether it be a business or whether it be a government, what do? Well, you buy the best technology and you buy and implement the best software. So guys, before we get into all of that information, if you guys do enjoy the information and analysis I provide for you guys in these videos here, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it helps me out a whole lot in spreading these videos out to as many people who actually want to learn. And if you never want to miss another video like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and critically turn on notifications so you never miss another one of these videos as soon as they go live. But let's first start off and talk about the chart of Palantir here. So after FOMC, the market was reacting relatively positively here. Again, we're not going to talk about any of that in this video. I could talk about everything that was said by Jerome Powell for hours here. But in the last time that we were talking about Palantir, we were talking about the possibility that we were going to be forming a pretty solid short-term bullish setup here. Now, what I will say now is I would really like to see Palantir get some closes above this daily 10 exponential moving average and start using it as support, very similarly to how we saw it perform on Monday. Then, if you can then break to the upside of this range here around 88.80, we could definitely see a short-term burst. But if you end up slipping down below this 81.80 area here, you could easily see a little bit more downside. But again, it really is going to depend on what's going to happen with the broad market as a whole. And if we take a look at the SPY here, I will give you kind of a little bit of a bullish view here. Again, we've been really moving significantly to the downside. We ended up shifting this kind of short-term downtrend here right around 564. We then came up, made a higher low, and are now pushing to the upside again. Now, again, getting some candle closes above the 200 exponential moving average would definitely be a good thing, but we'll see what happens. And again, in these periods when the market is coming down significantly, it is possible to look like we are showing those signs of a trend shift, but in reality, it could just be a little bit of a larger bear flag here. So just be aware of that. But let's start talking about this new contract that Palantir could potentially be receiving here. So notice of intent to sole source. Now we're going to talk about exactly what that is in a second, but the Department of Justice, Justice Management Division, Procurement Services staff intends to award a firm fixed price contract on a one-time sole source basis to Palantir. Okay, so it looks like, again, from this right here, we are going to be receiving a new DOJ Justice Management contract for Palantir from the government. Now, what is a sole source contract? When we come over here, most contracts are competitive, but sometimes there are exceptions to this rule. Sole source contracts are a kind of contract that can be issued without a competitive bidding process. This is the most important part. This usually happens in situations where only a single business can fulfill the requirements of a contract. In this clip from Palantir CEO Alex Karp right here is just, again, showing you everything that we need to see in this new situation where the government could be cutting spending here. But what is going to happen to Palantir? Let's hear from Alex Karp.
Well, look, at Palantir, we're very focused on what will make the West superior in the commercial space, mainly here on the battlefield. So even if it were for Palantir, I think bad for Palantir, I'd be in favor of it. I mean, how often have critics of Palantir been right? And it's like, look, buying, if you want to reform an institution, whether it's commercial or government or anything, what is the first thing you're going to do? Change the unit economics, make the customer experience better. How are you going to do that realistically in the West? You're going to buy the best software and implement it. Who are you going to buy from?
So now let's shift our focus a bit and talk about these very lofty valuation goals for Palantir, where they're coming from, and some of the more realistic expectations, which I think a lot of shareholders need to hear, especially in this market environment. And again, guys, if you guys enjoy kind of no BS, no nonsense approaches to the market, make sure you guys are subscribed. I'm trying to post 2 YouTube videos for you guys every single day on this channel here, Monday through Thursday. So if you never want to miss another one like this, make sure you guys are subscribed and have those notifications on. But when we come over here, Wedbush Analyst Dan Ives just said he thinks Palantir will be a $1 trillion company in the next couple of years. And as we've seen a couple of times before, Dan Ives has previously referred to Palantir as the Messi of AI, which I would say is pretty accurate here. I mean, in my opinion, I love Palantir as a company. Not necessarily a fan of the valuation right now, but love it as a company. I think they're really one of the only AI LLM companies right now that are really taking full advantage of all of the new developments in AI and are able to monetize them and get a return on their investments, which is a very, very important part here. And again, Dan Ives thinks that Palantir could be worth over $1 trillion over the next 3 to 5 years. Now, I want to bring you guys over to this article right now, and I think they do a very good job of breaking down kind of some of the numbers, the financial ratios of Palantir here, to give you guys a little bit of a different perspective. So Palantir, again, this was a couple of weeks ago, but they have a market cap of around 236 billion. Palantir's current market cap is around 202 billion. So if they were to get up to that $1 trillion valuation, their price, again, as everything stands right now, would be around $430 per share. For it to rise to $1 trillion by the end of 2030, the stock would need to return 29% every year on top of its current performance, considering that Wall Street is calling for 32% revenue growth in 25 and 26% in 2026. This goal seems possible, at least in the first few years. Now, I also want you guys to realize, because I think a lot of people are a little bit newer to this market here. I understand I look young. I'm 25, but I've been doing this since I was 14, guys, learning from some of the most successful financial professionals in the world. So I've been around for a decent period of time in the markets here. And again, I think a lot of people are spoiled by the returns that everybody saw last year. It's not every year that you're going to see 20% up years in the key indexes, and a lot of our favorite stocks absolutely skyrocketing. But however, not everything is tied to revenue growth, as valuation is also important, because Palantir hasn't posted consistent profit margin. Its price to earnings ratio is a bit skewed. However, its price to sales ratio is a good metric to consider. And its price to sales ratio on this chart, it's around 101 right here, which is very, very, very elevated there. If these metrics look incredibly high, that's because they are. Regardless of your chosen metric, Palantir stock is unbelievably expensive. And for those of you guys unfamiliar, price to sales is effectively just taking the market cap of a company and then dividing it by its total revenue in order to get that type of multiple there. And when you compare Palantir, again, to something not in the same sector, but again, another big AI player like NVIDIA, which never had a forward PE of more than 51 and a price to sales of 46 during its run since 2023, despite growing sales at more than 200% year over year, this seems odd. Keep in mind that Palantir is currently growing at the mid 30% range year over year. So still great growth, but when you compare it to something like an NVIDIA and look at how crazy NVIDIA actually got in the marketplace there, they still weren't as expensive as Palantir got, or even as expensive as Palantir currently is right now. And then continuing on, even if you were to see revenue growth accelerate to about 50% per year, and it would sustain that until 2030, alongside that, we'll assume the company can achieve a 30% profit margin, even though its best to date is 20%, and then ignore the effects of the rising share count. If you do that, you have a company that generates $32.6 billion in revenue and $9.79 billion in profits. Very impressive. But we already have a company that posts similar numbers like this, which is Salesforce. And over the past 12 months, the company generated $37.2 billion in revenue and $5.9 billion in profits. And the stock currently has a market cap of $312 billion, nearly where Palantir kind of is today. Again, that's 50% more than Palantir is currently trading at in the market. Now, I know that some of these numbers here for you guys, again, may be kind of making you, I don't want to say a little upset at me, but a little like, oh, he's just bearish on Palantir, which is not what I'm saying at all. I actually think if Palantir were to achieve those numbers, it would have a lot higher of a market cap than something like Salesforce, because again, Palantir is a far superior product for a lot of these corporations and governments than Salesforce would actually be. But I want you guys to have kind of a realistic expectation as we head into this kind of new market environment that I don't think a lot of people are used to. I know that we saw a crazy boom during kind of 2020 and 2021, and then we saw that drawdown in 22, and then ever since then, the market has kind of been straight up, and we've seen a lot of these AI companies and these themes really follow through and make significant gains. But again, guys, past performance is not an indication of future results here. Palantir could continue to grow the revenue significantly, and if the market and the macro conditions are not really in the right place for stocks like this to continue higher, especially when it's already trading at an unbelievably rich valuation here, well, you might see some short-term volatility. But again, as I kind of bring you back to what we were talking about with the chart earlier, it is possible that we are going to be forming this short-term bullish setup here, which would be absolutely awesome to see, especially if we can get some follow through after this this week's and today's FOMC meeting. So guys, that's going to wrap up this video here. If you did enjoy the information and analysis I provided for you guys, if you guys wouldn't mind going down, hitting that like button. And again, if you guys do want to see more videos like this and you never want to miss another one of these when they do get posted live, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. But until the next one, guys, I will see you. Peace.